that time.
We're live. All right. Welcome to another Kitchen Sink live Microscopy. We're your favorite YouTube hosts. I'm the bald one, Casey. That is Eric over there. What are we going to talk about today, Eric?
Well, as we've been doing recently, we're going to carry over the stuff from our Lightning Strikes Twice episodes and talk about it and find a way to somehow intertwine the two disparate topics. And you brought up the concept of, like, is it better to have somebody going to one of those massage parlors or having a clandestine relationship? And then I brought up maybe we should return to physical media again, because the subscriptions and streaming is just, it's getting stupid. So I don't know where
that might be hard to tie together, but I'm sure we'll find a way.
Yeah.
I mean,
we could just talk about them in general, because they're both, yeah, I think, relevant.
I do see one similarity, just to mention right off the top of my head, is that with all these subscription-based services and everything, there's a lot of people or a lot of companies out there clamoring to own you when it comes to that particular form of entertainment, right? Mm-hmm. And they want you to subscribe to them and have all the best things that they have to offer. No one else has to offer.
No, I know where you're going with this. This is good. Yeah.
Right. So, and then, you can have other streaming services, but then you start to feel guilty if you're not using one and paying for it all the time. And so I can see how there might be some parallels to draw between those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not wanting to be too dismissive of relationships and likening them to streaming services or anything. But
well, I mean, you could. There are people who take music and film very seriously, to the point where if you're like, oh, I don't like that band, or I don't like that movie, people get incensed. Oh, yeah. They get like angry at you because you don't like something they like. So I mean, yeah, though, yeah, I don't want to diminish or belittle relationships, but the media is the same way. People feel very emotionally attached to certain things.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, when we were kind of discussing like what's better, to have a partner going out to these little seedy massage parlors for a quickie or a handy or whatever, or to have like a full-on relationship on the side, like, like I saw some drama on my Facebook unfolding between a couple of friends of mine that have been together for a few years, and that kind of came into the mix apparently, and there was a lot of drama as if it were like a full-blown relationship sort of cheating thing. And in my head is like, there is a difference, isn't there? Like,
there is. Yeah, absolutely. But then there are people
who their own, but like,
yeah. Well, because we brought up in the Lightning Strikes Twice that it's like, hey, there's kind of a spectrum there. Because some people consider watching porn to be cheating,
or even looking at someone else, and like that would be like if you bought a Van Gogh painting, like you're not allowed to go to art museums anymore or something, like look at other paintings. I already have a painting.
Exactly. Or you have
on my painting
your favorite band or something, but you're not allowed to like listen to another band. Like, oh no, it's only the Rolling Stones. You can only listen to them, and nothing else. Perish the thought if you listen to the Beatles. Like that is kind of nonsensical if you think about it.
There are some people who experience music in that way, where they have just like
Mhm.
a handful of bands that they listen to, and that's it, and they're
I
happy with that. You
I
know,
I mean, if it, whatever makes you happy, but it sounds kind of miserable to me
right?
because, as the saying goes, variety is the spice of life, isn't it? Um, so having a little bit, it's like I love top ramen. I absolutely love top ramen, and I could eat it almost every day. But then at some point, I go and I'm like thinking about making some top ramen, and I'm just like, kind of sick of top ramen. And so I switched to something else for a little while. And then I come back to top ramen. Go to the store and I'll be like, oh man, I haven't had top ramen in so long. And the cycle continues. Um, so like I guess other passions could be similar.
Yeah.
Be it a hobby or movies or music or relationships. Now, I don't like one of the problems, like, because so a CD or a DVD or whatever doesn't care if you watch it or not. But when you're talking relationships, that's a human being. So you do have to maintain that and at least communicate and be connected and stuff. But also as a partner, you got to understand that sometimes people drift a little bit and you have your ups and downs, just like anything else. And it isn't, I think people take that really personally. If somebody has whatever, some emotional thing or whatever going on in their life, and like they're not present because of it, um, that they think like the the other partner is doing, like, they feel like that person is doing something to them as opposed to just them, like their partner experiencing something that's getting in the way of stuff. I guess I don't know how to
Yeah, I
describe
mean
that, but
that's the complicated part of relationships in general, whether it's romantic or friendship or whatever,
yeah.
even business.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine some of this can even occur where, like your dynamics do have an effect, and even though like what you do affects the dynamics, you don't necessarily have control over how they're affecting the other,
Yeah,
and so it's really hard to put blame on someone for that uh,
mm-hmm.
particular.
And that particular thing does tend to create a lot of friction in relationships,
Hmm.
be it friendships or other types of. I would, so, and here I just want to get this out, that I don't see that much of a difference between a friendship and like a romantic relationship. It's all emotional connection, like one way or another. And okay, yeah, like you got your buddies, you're not like physically, you're not being physical with them per se, um, in that way. But still, there are friendships that have a lot more potency than romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Like people that have been through some shit together. It's like, yeah, you're gonna, you take a bullet for that person. Whereas like your romantic partner, you'd be like, oh, no, hey, I don't think so. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been most of my life, I've been a very like devoted, monogamous sort of person. And then for a brief time, well, two brief times, like after particularly um, damaging relationships, like emotionally, mentally damaging, and physically in some cases. Um, I was very like disconnected from that, and uh, being like too prudent with with opening up to new people, and I don't want to say I like regret that because I like where I am now, but like I, like shortly after fucking something up, I would be like, why did I do it that way? Why didn't I open up like I wanted to? But like I would be that like emotionally disconnected person, and like yeah, it actually does like damage things, and I mean it was bad for me too, So
Well,
like,
and that like your self-reflection about that is uncommon, I think.
mhm,
A lot of people are very inclined to blame the other person for a failing of a relationship, where it's like, hey, as the saying goes, it takes two to tango. Your actions and their actions and your reactions to things, like it's this, kind of web of emotion and information and stuff like that. Um, and I think a lot of people are very quick to get resentful of failures, when if you think about it, it's actually kind of miraculous that relationships, like a romantic relationship, even works at all.
right.
Like it's kind of magic if you think about it. So just be thankful for it. And everything is fleeting. Entropy creeps its way into every corner of our lives. And so
Yeah.
it isn't that unexpected that things change or evolve into something that it changes from what it was in the beginning to something new.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well, and I mean that's what happened with media too. Like
Yeah,
that's how we got away from physical media, is because
exactly.
that was kind of the way things were trending. But now that's getting shitty,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're like, oh, remember how great it was with our ex, the vinyls and the CDs, man.
I well, and in this case, see, in a lot of cases with like relationships, you rose tinted glasses, right? You look back and only remember the good. Maybe you only remember the bad sometimes. It just depends. But when it comes to media, yes, the past was absolutely better. We had ownership, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yes, legally speaking, you this is how dumb things are out there when it comes to copyright and stuff like that. So when you buy like a DVD or a Blu-ray or a CD or a cassette or a vinyl, like you're buying a license to play it. The You do own the physical thing that this recording is stored on, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't own the IP. Okay.
Yeah.
So like you're allowed to make a backup copy of something. So if you have a vinyl, you can like rip the vinyl to MP3 and store it on your NAS or something like that, on your computer, on your phone or whatever. But you can't just distribute it.
Right.
um, However, you can take that physical thing because you own that, and you can sell that thing to another person. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Kind of crazy, but
I mean, that's much preferable to the streaming side of things where, like, because that's one of those things where it's only wrong if you get caught, right? Like
Mhm.
if I make more than one copy, one for my house and one for my car, or I just give one to my buddy and nobody ever knows,
that
nobody's really getting hurt, especially
that
if
is
that person wasn't going to buy it in the first place anyway. And
that is the argument that like you remember the Napster
yeah, yeah.
lawsuit. And yeah, because back in the day with cassettes, you'd have your dual cassette deck and you'd like dub and
Mhm.
hand your friends like a copy of a tape, or you maybe make a mixtape for somebody or yourself. That was
You
commonplace.
record
You were
stuff off the radio
off the
and
radio. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And for a time, people had the those what were they? I'm trying to think of device name, but it was like a digital, it was like a DVR essentially that hooked up a TiVo. Yeah. So you could record TV onto
Oh yeah,
digital
yeah.
stuff and then play it back later. And it had capacity to skip past commercials and stuff. I mean, that's a good thing,
Yeah.
honestly. But yeah, like that used to be the way. And you are 100% correct. Like that you're not really harming anybody. Like that was the whole argument Napster made against people. I think even Metallica was the like at the forefront, the
Yeah.
spearhead
Hmm.
of this. And it's ironic that like years later they got hit by their own bullshit. um
Right.
like
No, I
that.
mean there are two sides to that that
Mhm.
I can see arguments for both, because while you and I might use stuff like that for, I'm not going to buy the whole album, but I like this one song, or there's,
Yeah.
like unreleased stuff that you can't buy anyway or something. There were people that were just like, oh, I'm not going to buy the album when I can just go rip it.
Mhm.
And, like they would never ever give money to their favorite artists and stuff. Of course, that did become a problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know the right answer to the proper
I,
way to fix that,
I don't either now. So
but what we have now is not the answer.
no,
It obviously, because the artists are still getting screwed,
they are.
and
Yes.
all these companies with their big fat subscription income are getting richer and richer and richer.
Oh yeah,
So
they're like dark overlords at this point.
yeah,
And so I have no pity if they're hurt a little bit in the wallet.
yeah,
If it goes to the artist, like artists definitely now. And this is where, back in the day, you would you probably are too young to remember this, but you'd get your vinyl album, okay, that was released. But they had 45s, so that was your singles, and they were
yep,
super cheap. It was like one song per side, and typically you'd have the hit song, like the one like you're saying, oh, I just want this one song. You would get that, and on the B side was like a remix or some
mhm.
other song that like nobody heard or they couldn't put on the album, which is
Or a
cool. So
live one or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like,
or a deep
and,
track or whatever. Yeah,
yeah. So that was kind of neat, and I'd like to see that come back. Honestly, like,
yeah,
I think we can reach some kind of compromise though, because I think streaming is great. Like obviously it's here, it's not going away. There are definite benefits to streaming, but there's also a lot of negatives. And
yeah.
and I'm really happy to see that so many artists, they release their album and then they also release a vinyl. So like you've got a hard copy that nobody can touch unless they want to be literally a thief. So
Yeah.
like it, you see it with books too. So with like the Kindle, um I've noticed this with one book, but I've heard stories from other people where, so there's a book that is published and somebody downloads the Kindle version and you think, okay, I have it, right? Like it's like going to the bookstore and buying a book and you've got it on your shelf. Well, at some point, I the whims of the societal winds of change blow a different way, and they're like, oh, I want to modify the whoever wrote the book, they want to change something, or the publisher is like, oh well, that's not PC anymore, so we're going to modify that uh retroactively. And they do. There are books people downloaded on Kindle, and now they're different. Like, oh, they went back and they changed it. That'd be like somebody breaking into your house and taking a permanent marker and scritching out like part of a book and writing in something different. Like they did that.
How dangerous is that?
That
Like,
is that is
imagine books go all digital and then
yeah,
history books all of a sudden start changing history.
that is super Orwellian. Like
Yeah.
if that is about as 1984 as you can get.
Yeah, it
Um
is.
And yeah, you're right. That very dangerous. That we don't want that. And this is why it's important that we have physical things that you can't, that they're not going to change. Like if I have a vinyl, it isn't like I'm going to pull it out and like the song will be different or something. No, like it is here as long as I have it in my possession, it will be unchanged for all time. And that's a good thing. And that's where it's like, hey, we need to have this balance between the ephemeral nature of digital stuff, which is kind of like, hey, it's like this is the way I see it. Casual listening. You're like, oh man, I remember that song from back in the day. I want to listen to it, and you just it doesn't really matter. That's the digital side of things, the streaming, on demand or whatever, where like it doesn't really matter. You just want to see it or see a clip or listen to a track off of an album or something. But the stuff that really matters that you hold dear to your heart, you want physical versions of it, things that matter. Um, we need to have both. That I guess is my point. Because like I brought up in the Lightning Strikes Twice, when I had a Netflix subscription, I was going through and watching every episode of Reading Rainbow, a show that I love so much. Love that show. And they had all of it. And I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. So I was watching it, season to season, every just linear, just watching every single episode from way back in the day going forward. And then one day I sit down and I start up Netflix and I go to watch Reading Rainbow and it's gone. They pulled all of it. And I don't know why. Of course, there's no explanation.
They to be fair, back when they started and they had just physical DVDs they would mail out to you, they did the same thing. Like their catalog would change and they would,
and that's
like,
fair.
and it made me wonder, like, you bought the DVD, like, where are you just putting it on a shelf and you're saying, well, no, we're not mailing this one out anymore? Like, what was that about?
That is a little bit weird. Yeah. Well, they probably had limited space. And I understand too, from the streaming standpoint, there's a limited storage capacity for servers to keep this stuff there. But that is the thing. It's like, we have to, like, if you're going completely streaming based, then it comes with the caveat that it may disappear. Like at some point you're gonna,
nice if like these companies started making like fractal versions of themselves, like you could have like a Netflix classic or something, where like it's just old shit, and they have servers for that the people who want that are paying for, and it could just be based on like supply and demand, how much that costs, like why aren't they doing that?
That's a good point, because
that would happy. Like
that would absolutely work. And then if you have this one company that has a bunch of sub companies under it that all cater to a particular facet, it would totally work. It's like, what movie theaters are doing now to stay alive, because nobody's going to the movies to see new movies, because new movies generally suck. Like everything in the last decade has pretty much sucked ass. Well, so what they're doing now, because the licensing is cheap, they're picking up old movies from like the 80s and the 90s and showing them. And it was the coolest thing. Me and a girlfriend went and saw Labyrinth, and like in the movie theater, like a year ago, I believe. And so it was so cool because the theater was packed. There were all kinds of people. So, but there were like old people there. It was like multiple generations and like little kids. It just everybody was watching it. It was just so much fun. And it's like, hey, that's good. Like it. So this actually touches on something that I have an intimate familiarity with, and that is video game ROMs. Okay.
Yeah.
So I love the NES. I had an NES when I was a kid, and I played all kinds of games. Yeah, I played a bunch of different consoles and stuff like that, but the NES has a special place in my heart. And of course, Nintendo, up until fairly recently, they abandoned that whole thing. The NES is long forgotten. They didn't make new cartridges or new consoles or anything like that. So your only way to play stuff was if you could physically find well, first off, you have to find an NES, then you have to keep it maintained so it doesn't have that blinky problem that the 10 nest chip is responsible for. So cut pin 4 on that particular chip and that problem solved. Anyway, um so um it but like they didn't release those games again. It was decades, and so people were basically pirating the old ROMs and stuff. And Nintendo sued a bunch of sites that hosted all this stuff. And their claim was like, well, they released some kind of pansy ass statement that was like, well, we have the same characters, like the characters from the Super Mario Brothers and from Zelda in the new game. So if you want to play those characters, you just buy the new games. And I actually sent a physical letter to Nintendo of America stating as to why I will continue to pirate their stuff. Basically because, like, well, I don't care about the character per se, the game. It's the nostalgia of playing the original Super Mario Brothers or the original Legend of Zelda or something. Like, yeah, I know those characters are kind of like lifted and dropped into other games, but I don't want to play like the N64. I don't want to play an N64 version of Zelda. I want to play the Legend of Zelda.
Right.
Hey,
to their credit, Nintendo did pretty well with this Super Mario Wonder, like being side scrolling again, and
yeah,
like the only 3D aspect is more of like a Super Mario World style, like the map where you go between the
yeah,
2D
yeah.
side scrolling worlds and stuff, and
But
so
how
like
long
that's
did it?
cool,
How long did it take them to finally get there?
right?
But then again, now of course, to their credit as well, finally Nintendo had the retro consoles, those little mini things. Sega did the same thing.
Yeah,
Commodore as
I have the
well.
Genesis one, I think.
Yeah. So like that's and Atari also. There's like the handheld. It's basically a controller, and that's the whole console. That's cool. But I mean, it came too late. Like it. Plus, it's like it doesn't have all the games. And okay, yeah, the NES one you can definitely hack because it's essentially a Raspberry Pi, I think. So it's running Linux. Like it isn't the console. It's emulation, which you could just do anyway. But I mean, it's kind of cool. It it's like why didn't they? Why did it take them so long to realize? Well, I know why, because fucking shareholders. That's why. It's the corporate structure, and that is really the issue here.
Well, the
Because
dumb
I
thing
think
is people would pay for it.
they
So
would. They absolutely, like, I would. Like, if Nintendo were still releasing original, like, newly manufactured NES cartridges, I'd probably be buying them. I'd be like, oh hell yeah.
God.
But as it stands, it's kind of like the hobbyist community. So there are people today developing Atari 2600 games that they produce on physical cartridges.
You know, to kind of tie it back to the relationship thing, if you think about it, pirating is just like cheating.
Yeah.
It's like I want this thing, but my partner or my licensor
The law.
won't let me,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Um, so it it's interesting how so many people will so much more easily justify pirating software or a song or whatever versus cheating on their um, significant other, let's say, you know.
Oh, hey,
But
Victoria. Hi.
oh, hey,
Mhm.
but I mean, the two things are relatively similar if you
I
think
would
about it.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good point. Well, and it's, I guess, in both aspects, the law, the overlords, the your whatever societal structures, whatever you might want to call them, ignores human nature.
Hmm.
It's sort of like prohibition. Like basically, we know, and I've said this many, many times, prohibition doesn't work. You have to go like they're starting from a premise of like, hey, we can stop this from happening, which, okay, laudable goal, right? You think that something is bad for society or bad for people, like, oh, don't do drugs, drugs are bad, okay, or don't hire that prostitute or whatever, don't copy that floppy, and stuff like
Be
that.
kind, rewind.
Yeah. um but people are going to do it anyway. So if you start with the premise that we're going to control people, you're going to fail. And lives will be harmed one way or another. Um, but if you begin from the premise of like, hey, people are going to do it no matter what, let's figure out how to work within that and make it good for all, right? Like, we were talking about the Napster lawsuit that Metallica spearheaded back in the day. And they were like, oh, they're stealing our shit and copying floppies, and like, oh, we're losing millions of dollars. That was the premise. Because like, oh yeah, sure, a bunch of middle school kids that are downloading your songs from Napster, they have thousands of dollars to buy your albums, right? Uh-huh, sure. So like,
Well, all the while it was the record companies taking the money, and they still are, like
they are, and they're handing nickels to the
yeah,
artists, of course. And
yeah,
this is the thing about streaming and the internet and the digital world now, is that it puts control back in the hands of the artists now. So you don't need to go to a studio anymore, like, or a record label or something. You could self-publish 100%. So you get all that revenue. This is good. Why do we even use record labels anymore? This is stupid.
yeah. Hold on though. Like having just done that, the thing that you're not getting then is the massive buying power for marketing your
Marketing,
album.
yes. You're
So
right. Yeah.
you can absolutely, like, that is cool. Like we would have never been able to put out like CDs en masse and on our own
Mm-hmm.
without a record label back before streaming. Now
Yeah.
we can just do that, and then
Mhm.
it's available to everybody, and they'll never ever listen to it, but it's there anyway. Like,
Some people do. We've got a few super fans out there. So
but like
no,
that's the give and take there. Like
no, you're right. And certainly you get a lot more exposure when you go with a major label. Like, a lot of the stuff that I listen to is like, well, it's connected to a label called New Retro Wave. So it's kind of like old school 80s esque kind of music, but newly produced.
hmm,
And that's good. Like,
yeah,
you get exposure. That is a hard thing when you're just going it alone. So yeah, it's a trade-off. But now there's a lot more potential to diversify. Like, oh, you've got these, back in the day, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Sub Pop, that was the
yeah.
one that was kind of a side label that did all the cool bands back in the day.
They're
Um,
still around.
they are, yeah, but now we have more. So it's
Yeah,
like, oh, you can have, if you're somebody who does electro swing music, okay, there's a label for you,
yeah,
which is crazy, and that's cool. But that's the upside. But the downside is, of course, loss of control, and that you're beholden to whatever label you sign on to and their
yeah.
particular practices. And as a
I actually
consumer,
turned down a label
hmm,
for my album. Like there was an Italian label that was interested in signing me, but
hmm,
I, for sentimental reasons, I wanted to release it on the 25th anniversary of Jeff's suicide. It was like
yeah.
poetic and poignant and very meaningful to me personally.
And
And
I
and
have
they
that
were like,
vinyl.
"Oh, well, we need like 6 months, to market and everything." And I was like,
Yeah,
all
no.
right, well, I'll just do it myself. Like, no one's gonna buy it anyway, and then I'm just giving you guys money for nothing. So, like,
I bought it.
yeah, you and two other people, that's it. Like,
Yeah. Hey, but you know what?
just about what I expected. Like,
So this, for the love of the art.
yeah.
I like I had a friend back in high school, amazing artist. He did well, he was like, I guess in terms of art, you could say he was a multi-instrumentalist. He did everything. And one of the things he loved to do was to make like to silk screen shirts. So, but and I watched him do this through the few years that we were going to high school together. He would spend all this time meticulously cutting out the mask on the silk screen and stuff, and then he would make one shirt. All right, he would do one shirt, and then he'd take the screen and tear it up and throw it away. And I'm like, dude, that's an awesome shirt. Why don't you make more? And he's like, well, but that would make it kind of worthless, wouldn't it? Because now there's only one shirt like this. And I'm like, okay, bro, you got a point. That's a good point. But so it's like, it doesn't matter how many people buy it. If somebody appreciates it, and somewhere down the line, that's going to change a life, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, we got comments too. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think this was in reference to the cheating is like piracy thing. Yes, but the difference is agreed to a relationship with my partner after a hopefully honest communication about the terms of our relationship. Um, what what I think you missed coming in late is we were originally talking about what would you rather have a partner go to one of those massage parlors or have a full on like side relationship where they're
secret.
like where they're like invested in that, and whereas the massage parlor, they it's not on their mind all the time
No,
or whatever, they just
and in fact,
go and that's it, and
well, and the difference with the massage parlor is there probably would be a different person every time you go.
Mhm.
So it's like you're going there for, it's like going to, I don't know, get a haircut at some big box place. Like, oh yeah, this day this person cuts your hair. The next day it's a different person cutting your hair. You never
Mhm.
know. Um,
Yeah. But
so
yeah, that's where that kind of originated, and then we were trying to tie in, you know, the loss of physical media and all these subscription services for everything nowadays, and
I think
we
we've
saw
been
some
doing
parallels there.
we've been doing a pretty good job there, I think,
Yeah.
and there's connections. Um, but yeah, absolutely, I would say in all relationships, communication is very important, be it monogamous or non-monogamous. I think, and so one thing that I brought up in the Lightning Strikes Twice that spawned this episode was that in monogamous relationships, there's this sort of expectation, like a default expectation of how things are, that's built.
Mhm.
Society just crafts it, and everybody just assumes that's how it goes. And of course, that isn't how it goes. Divorce rates in the US are like 50%, right? Like, it, that's how it is. Human beings are not built to be monogamous. So we're artificially sticking ourselves in that monogamy box and saying, like, oh, why didn't it work when it fails? Well, I would say it isn't necessarily monogamy that's to blame. I think it's the like the constructs that we've built that cause people to just assume that, oh, this is how it is. And then people go and they sneak around behind somebody's back and do something. Whereas with non-monogamous relationships, people are very inclined to be open about things like, oh yeah, I've got another partner. Oh, I'm going on a date. Because like there's no harm in that. Like no one's gonna get pissed at you for that.
Yeah. So I mean, technically, we're not meant to be bipedal either. Like evolution hasn't completely fitted our bodies. I mean, this is why back pain is such a prominent problem, right?
No, this is true. Yeah.
Like we would actually be better off kind of crawling around. We'd probably even be better off like sewing our mouth to the anus of another person and creating a human centipede. But
you know, that would be a interesting movie, wouldn't it?
Yeah, wouldn't it? But you know, to say that, you know, just because we're not like perfectly made to be a certain thing shouldn't necessarily be an argument against doing that, because obviously like we have built a society based on walking around on 2 feet, and it would be incredibly inconvenient to just start crawling everywhere.
No, I get where you're coming from, and you're 100% right in that. However, I guess maybe my point is like we should be more, I guess, real about it. Like we should know how to explain this, but like we need to understand that things are a certain way and that what we're doing is in defiance of those things.
Yeah.
And not that like, oh, if something doesn't work out because we're kind of skirting the rules, so to speak, it isn't because the other person is at fault or they did something wrong. It's that, well, you know, we're Icarus. We're flying a little higher than we're supposed to, and the sun is melting the wax. And so if we fall, it isn't the fault. It isn't the fault of the sun. Yeah, it isn't the fault of the sun or gravity or something or whatever. It's like, well, we're just going in a place we're not really meant to be, and that's fine. That's okay. But we need to come into it with the understanding that that is what we're doing, and we're not doing that. Society is conditioning people to believe, oh, this is just the way it's done. This is the way we do things. This is totally normal, totally natural. When it's like, it is anything but. It is anything but normal and natural. We are like, well, it's like, look at all the things post-industrial revolution and stuff. We've modified this planet to support us. But like, oh yeah, one little power outage and we're fucked. You know, like that's okay. Well, that's the risk we take because we used to know how to do things and now we've forgotten how to do things because we built this cushy life for ourselves with technology and in industry. And like, well, okay, that is the pillar we've built ourselves up on, and it's very shaky. So we have only ourselves to blame if it crumbles. That's my point, I guess.
There's a couple comments here, and this kind of brings me back to a point that we should kind of touch on, that we went over a little bit on the Lightning Strikes Twice, and that is that the concept of monogamy is actually kind of a spectrum. So the comment here, the assumption is the assumption itself isn't bad. The unwillingness to explore and question them is. There are many social conventions that are probably good. And, you know, like monogamy, there are a lot of good qualities to that. That's kind of how we got where we are today, really, is the strength in numbers, the altruism, to protect one another. And
well, you also have like
kin and your neighbors and stuff.
You have the stability of the nuclear family, which is not a bad thing. But
especially in the economy that we built, like it's
Mhm.
almost impossible to go it alone,
It
and
is.
we're
Well,
at an
and
extreme
this
disadvantage,
we
I'd say.
actually, I'm going to just interject here. This concept of, because I think we did an episode talking about baby bird, right? This idea that, oh, your kids, you have kids, they grow up, they turn 18, and then they leave the house and start a whole new family over there and stuff. That's a new thing. That is
Mm.
really, really new. I mean, we're talking 60, 70 years ish, which in the timeline of human existence is like nothing. um it used to be multiple generations, they reside in the same house on the same property. It'd be, you'd have the grandparents and the parents and the kids and the grandkids, and they'd all be kind of in the same place because that's a support structure. So it's like there's a benefit to that. But again, it's a personal thing. It's a personal choice. It's whatever flavor you like to eat, essentially. And so, just like religion, like I won't belittle somebody for believing in God or Jesus or Muhammad or whatever. It's like, hey, that's what you want to believe. That's fine. Just don't tell me I got to believe it, and we're good. We can all get along here. Um, and when it comes to relationships, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not going to shit talk you for being monogamous. Like, whatever, that's what you want to do, that's your style, and that's okay. I, however, am not. And so in that, I think it's like, hey, we can all get along, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And well, I mean, to go back to the idea of the monogamy as a spectrum thing,
Oh yeah, I kind
and
of diverged from that.
tying it to, what I said about how like we kind of justify pirating songs or software because the it's the oppression is just crushing us with
Yeah.
all the fees and the you can't do this, you must do it this way, blah blah blah. Like, and then we're like, well, I'll just pirate it, and we have no qualms about that.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're in a particular relationship where like the rules are this and blah blah blah, and you can't even look, you can't watch porn, blah blah blah, and it's super oppressive or something, I could totally see how someone would be like, okay, well, I'm not allowed to do this, but if I don't get caught, no one gets hurt. So,
Well, exactly. And because we are, if you're being monogamous, you are defying nature,
mm-hmm.
like actively defying nature. And
Yeah,
so just like,
as a
um
monogamous person, I will
yeah, yeah,
confirm that.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like, so it takes effort, it takes maintenance, you do have to work at it. And that, like, I respect that. Like, hey, if you can make that work, like my parents, until my mom died, they had a pretty stable, solid relationship for decades and decades. Like,
mm-hmm.
and I've known people, well, your parents too,
Yeah,
same thing. Like,
yeah.
they were the most awesome couple.
It was
And
2 years ago today. My mom died, so drink for her.
hey, cheers. See you, space cowboy.
Yeah, over
uh
50 years they were together.
yeah.
Never been with anyone else. Like it was just the two of them. Like
Mm-hmm.
freaking birds, you know.
Mm-hmm. And some people are completely content in that
Mhm.
environment.
Yeah,
And well, and this goes back to the pros, the benefits of a monogamous relationship is that stability. Like, you have a foundation that you can stand on. You've got this
yeah,
home to come back to that'll always be there. um that's a good thing. That, like, there are benefits to that. However, for people like myself that are adventurers, like, I do like to have a home base, but I like to explore. And I feel very, very stifled in a relationship that limits me to just one person, and like, oh, it's the same old, day in and day out. This is it. Um, that seems boring to me, but it's not my place to tell other people how to live their lives. I just want to be free to live my life the way that I see fit. And in that,
mm,
like you're saying, the spectrum, relationships, sexuality, like all kinds of different things. There's a broad variety of different ways of doing things. And I think people are very inclined, and maybe we've been conditioned societally to think that our way is the only way. Um, and that we must push that on other people. And I totally disagree. That is harmful, because it'd be the so one way of analyzing whether your logic is correct is to flip it a little bit, right? Like, oh, if you say something about like one type of person, just substitute another type of person and see if that logic still makes sense to you, or if you are offended by that statement. And so like all you got to do is say, all right, instead of relationships or sexuality, let's go with food. Okay. Does it make sense for me to police other people for putting pineapple on pizza? Or should I just let them be? Like, well, just, hey, if we're having a party, make sure there's a cheese pizza for me or something, or I'm going to pick that pineapple off, I guess. But people get really incensed about that stuff. And I don't understand it. It's like, what does it matter what other people are doing? As long as they're not doing it to you, unless you get off on that, I guess. But like, yeah. Oh, we got more comments now.
Hot take: poly people are actually specifically qualified to understand the effort required to keep a healthy relationship going for the long term.
No, that was a point I was going to bring up, actually, in that because it ties into what I was saying before about how, like, in monogamous relationships, there's just this kind of assumption of the way things are, whereas in a poly relationship, there is no assumption, because it's kind of a spectrum. You ask people, like, when you first meet, like, well, hey, who are you? You have partners? How do you do things? What are the rules? Because you don't know. And I think that's a good thing. And also too, because I'm not a person who believes in getting married myself. I never will. The only reason I would ever like sign a contract in that regard would be for like tax purposes or something or whatever. But there is something to be said, because like when you put a ring on it, on another person, there's this expectation that, oh, well, there you go. All right, well, we've done it. We've tied the knot. Everything's good now. But when it comes to non-monogamy and non-married life, you don't have that. So you're constantly having to maintain that relationship and keep it going. You can't
it's
just
not that you don't have to do that with marriage or
no.
in general.
This is true,
either,
but I'm saying, like, by and large, societally, a lot of people feel that that's it, right?
No, I get what
like,
you're putting down. Like it would be better if that conversation were normalized across the board. Like when you begin a relationship, like talk a little bit about the terms, but also like create a safe space to answer honestly.
Yeah.
You know, like if you know you're talking to a person who's like monogamous minded, let's say in a spectrum sense, right?
Yeah.
You know, their idea of monogamy, if they're being completely honest, might be, hey, I want to go to a massage parlor every now and then, you know, just you know, shits and giggles or whatever, you know, like,
yeah, exactly.
or you know, maybe I just need a shitty massage and then a rub and tug or whatever, you know, like. But no, normal people probably wouldn't say that. They would probably be like, oh, yeah, I'm totally like 100% monogamous. I've never cheated on anybody in my entire life and blah, blah, blah. And there's that pressure for them to say those things and enter into these bonds that they're then struggling to maintain.
Yeah.
And like I saw with my Facebook friends, you know, it's probably, I'm projecting some, you know, like made for TV drama here or something, but you know, like that's if the conversation were just a little bit more open to like, well, I'm not open to that, but if you're okay with that, we can be together. And then that person would be like, yeah, I mean, I can take it or leave it, you know? But
Exactly.
but they
You can
don't have those conversations, you know, but
no,
a lot of
no.
people do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's
And I
like,
imagine that's how you handle that. Like
mhm.
if there's a poly relationship where people are like, yeah, I don't give details, I just go screw whoever I want, and you're not totally okay with that, you could be like, well, I I would at least like to like know how many people, or you know, like have a day in advance notice or something so I can make plans or
Yeah,
whatever your terms are. I don't know how
exactly.
that
And
stuff works.
it's all different. I mean,
Compromise, you
me,
know.
I just all I care about is like knowing the people and potentially meeting people, because like, hey, if you get along with that person, chances are I'm going to get along with them too. So it'd be nice to make a friend.
Yeah.
um and yeah, like I don't need to know specific details or days and times. Some people do, and that's fine. I actually had a relationship like that where a partner that I was seeing, her partner had like, he had like documents like dude, this is like NSA level shit. Like he had like dates, times, calendar stuff, like all this stuff. And he would like have to balance it. Like, oh, if she saw me for 2 hours, she'd have to see him for 2 hours. Or if we did something together, then they'd have to do something together. Like, okay, bro, that is a hell of a lot of work, a hell of a lot of stress. But I mean, whatever. That's how somebody, that's how they wanted to conduct themselves. And I'm fine with that. It just sounds like a lot of
I mean, I
effort.
think that's a person who would prefer to be more monogamous, trying to fit in to
Yeah.
a, a polyamorous situation where they're feeling like a tit for tat or eye for an eye
That
situation
that was
makes it a little bit
exactly.
more tolerable or something.
Yeah, actually he was really pissed off that I somehow convinced her to watch Firefly with me, the TV series,
Huh.
Joss Whedon TV series.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, because we watched it and she loved it. And he's like, oh, I was trying to get her to watch that for like 7 years. What did you do? And I'm like, I just suggested it. I don't know. Like, I mean, don't be butthurt. Like, we all like the show. So isn't that a
I
win?
roofied her and I sat her on a couch in front of the Firefly.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Like with the eye things, like oh,
Clockwork Orange.
Clockwork Orange style. Yeah. No, but it just, I don't know. It, boy, this is this is going all over the place. We have comments though.
Only on this show can we tie like subscription services and monogamy spectrums into into one conversation.
Piracy and those
Cheating.
kinds of massage parlors.
Oh,
Oh
jeez.
man. So we have comments though. Let's see. That was my point, hence the healthy qualifier. Yeah, it like healthy, let's see, effort required to keep a healthy relationship going for the long term. Yeah. And that, like, in a poly or non-monogamous thing, like people think, oh, it's ephemeral, right? Oh, you'll just leave when you don't feel like things are working. No, there's actually a very strong incentive to keep things going. And my relationships last as long as I can make them last. I don't like people going away.
I mean, that's technically true of anybody.
No, I know, but it's like your friends and stuff.
Mhm.
And like breakups tend to be pretty benign in my world, at least from my perspective. Sometimes there's some people, of course, that things have been less than.
I mean,
Uh,
I've had messy breakups, of course, but I've also had very benign ones.
oh
It
no, I know you.
it's a
Yeah, you.
it's a person thing, not a monogamy or non-monogamy thing.
Yeah, you're like, and this kind of like is a good illustration because you're like a serial married person, um, and yet like your
Only
exes.
thrice.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, that's more than me. It would have zero, so it seems like a lot. But your exes generally tend to be you're still friends with them. Everything's kosher. Like whatever. You, like okay, well, it's water under the bridge.
Yeah, like half and half, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, well, maybe not even that much. I like for the most part, like tend to drift away.
yeah.
Even if not in a like hatred kind of way,
Just sort of that life happens kind of thing.
yeah. But I mean,
But you're not like
the same can be said of friends. Like
Mhm.
like you and I hung out every day. Joe and I hung out every day. Now we don't.
Yeah.
I live in a different country, but like
It does make it a
regardless.
bit difficult. But still, like we're still friendly and we don't we're not like sitting there, stewing over the past or whatever, like, oh fucking Casey, I hate his ass. Never want to see him again. But that you have old partners that you don't have resentment toward, and I have many like that too, and I like I, even within poly and stuff you can have lifelong relationships that last forever, and that's kind of how things are. I have my core, and then I have my satellites, and then I have my comets. um so but it's like, hey,
wormholes and
yeah. Well, no, all those terms mean something. Um, but you can have a lifelong relationship. You don't have to involve the church or the state unless you want to. Like, I'm not going to belittle somebody for doing that. Like, whatever, that's your thing. It's not my thing.
well, I mean, there's poly people that get married, so
there are, yeah. Well, but that's a thing that should change. I think, like from a legal standpoint, like multiple marriages, like you can have a contract with multiple people, right? Like, oh, hey, 7 people decide to purchase a company and run it. You sign a contract with you all 7 of you sign it, and now you run the company. Like, how come you can't do that with a relationship, right?
tax is
like,
complicated enough. I think that would just make it even worse.
We could fix that with the fair tax, though. That's the thing. That would it would dissolve overnight. But you can certainly have a long-term relationship, and this is something I guess I get a little bit annoyed with. That sex is always the focal point when it comes to people talking about poly relationships and stuff, and it's like, okay, that's different. Um, you know, if I were to tell you, hey, I'm a swinger, right? Then of course we could talk about sex because that's all it's all about. But that is the entire point of that. Polyamory, on the other hand, is more deep than that. It's like, oh, especially when you get into like kitchen table poly and stuff, where like families connect together and
I think
like,
you mean kitchen sink.
Yeah, kitchen sink poly. Well, yeah, we're creating a new version now, a fork of poly.
Poly's
But
all about forking, right?
yeah, but I mean that, like, yes, sex is a component. What I guess what is a little bit annoying is like, okay, when it comes to monogamous relationships, if you bring that up, that, oh, hey, I have this partner, we're monogamous or we're getting married, do people immediately go to sex? They're like, oh, how many times have you fucked? Like, no, they don't. That would be insensitive. But when it comes to non-monogamy, that's all people focus on, and it's like, bro, there's way more to this than just the bedroom. Like, there's a hell of a lot more.
You have met Joe, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. But anyway, the point, what I was originally saying is, like, you can have a long-term relationship in a non-monogamous relationship. It and I think it maybe could possibly be sturdier than a monogamous relationship because it doesn't have any assumptions that are tied to it. So it's like you actively have to keep this going, and there's always the risk of it crumbling. So you're always having to maintain, like, oh, if I'm being an asshole, I can't just fall back on the church or the state and be like, bitch, you're my wife, you stay here. Like, nope, because they could just walk away at any minute.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that as being a true statement. But I would argue equally true just from speaking to your programming knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
With multitasking, right?
Yeah.
It's not really even a thing in the computer processing world. Like there is a finite amount of resource.
Yep. And
so like
especially
the depth of the relationships probably can't reach the same magnitude.
No, you are 100% correct there. And yes, especially when it like with computers, of course, you got multiple cores and processors and stuff. So technically there's sort of multitasking. Human beings, we got one processor, albeit a very fancy one. But yeah, we are not capable of multitasking. We're capable of task switching, and we can do it quite well. But yeah, when it comes to relationships, if you're dividing your attention between multiple people, there is a limit. And it applies to friendships as well. They say like you should only have a few friends. If you have like 10 friends or something, somewhere in, like close to a dozen, you can like maintain that. But if you got 50 or 100 friends, it's diluted at that point.
Yeah, I mean, unless you all hang out together, it's kind of impossible to make an adequate amount of FaceTime to.
And that applies to romantic relationships as well. So you can't go all over the place. Like to have 20 hardcore solid romantic relationships is probably impossible. But you could have 3, maybe something like that, because of course love, as we know, is infinite. Time is finite.
Yeah.
And that is the commodity that we cannot divide and copy and paste. So there is that. And that is going to your credit, I guess. The benefit of a monogamous relationship is, well, you're not dividing that time. It's indivisible. There's one amount of time. You all share it together. Now, of course, with poly, especially like
except
the
when
kitchen
you're at
table.
the massage parlor.
Yeah, well, exactly. But that's a little sliver of time. Of course, people work too, so you've got your coworkers, you have your job, and all that takes away from it too, unless you work from home. But you could, so with poly, you do potentially have some other benefits that you don't get with monogamy. Like for one, in a poly relationship, you can all get together and hang out. Like I've done that many times. I've had 3 partners at the house for a game night, or like coloring book night, and it was a lot of fun. Everybody gets along, and that's another benefit. You have a support group. So if somebody's struggling, other partners will come in and help to prop up things, which you don't really get with a monogamous relationship. Like maybe your family, if you could trust them. But in a poly relationship, like, hey, everybody has an interest in the relationship at large functioning. And if one partner is struggling or suffering, like everybody rallies to, it's like a fucking relationship militia. Oh, I need to make that a t-shirt. Damn it.
There's a good comment here. I would also argue that the weakness of a monogamous relationship, one person becomes your one and only emotional support human. That can happen, but there's absolutely nothing stopping you from calling a friend for stuff too.
Well,
and actually, like that's probably a good idea. Like I would actually argue, like, if poly relationships are utilizing romantic partners for emotional support, that might be a detriment, really, because like that stuff should actually go to friends or to therapists or something like it.
Mhm.
You know, I mean,
Well, it
unless it's something you
depends.
have to work on together, but
Yeah, it
like
would.
if it's your own problem, you shouldn't dump everything on your partner,
No, no,
partners,
you're
or whatever,
correct,
you know.
and it does depend on what the circumstances are, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it is nice to have people that care, that are there and can like
Yeah.
help you work through stuff, um, be it friends or partners or whatever. I honestly, I don't know that there's like a stark line between the two. I it just, it's like whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, my partners are my friends too. So, and I'm sure
Right.
your partner is your
Oh yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. Like there, I mean, what you say is correct. There really is almost no difference other than, I mean, I think that's why conversations and thoughts always go to sex when relationships come up, is because that is kind of the dividing, or the differential between what we consider romantic and platonic, right? I mean, it's
yeah, yeah.
kind of even there implied in the two names, right? Like
Mhm.
platonic is like the lack of romance, you know. And
Mhm.
so I do get that.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, you want to draw a line somewhere, that would be it,
Well,
right?
and it is important to, for like, you know me, it's like terminology and labels and things like it's a love-hate relationship. Um, I think it's important to have definitions for things so that when I communicate with you, right, you comprehend the point, like you pick up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
Like we need to have standards in that regard. So loosey goosey language is problematic when you're trying to be like specific about something. Um,
Shaka when the walls fell.
I actually used that term with my boss the other day. She didn't get it. It, yeah. Oh, we
That's
have.
ironic.
I know it is. Yeah, I should bring her down to the planet's surface and we can fight a monster together. Yeah. Uh, Rosenblatt and Rosenblatt and Hobbes at Point Defiance.
Etienne, his eyes closed.
Oh man, see, got to be hardcore to understand what we're talking about.
Got to be a deep sink diver to get
Oh yeah, yeah,
that.
absolutely. Man, that's such a good episode too. It's so good. I have the T-shirt. I should be wearing it now. So we have
Oh,
some
I thought
comments
you meant our
here.
episode.
Uh-huh. Victoria says we change tax code yearly. Don't use taxes to back religious propaganda. No, I get it. Well, and to me, like as an atheist and an anarchist, I think both are bullshit. Government and religions are kind of bullshit. Hey, if you want to participate in your own little thing, that's fine. Like whatever you do, you. You know, I'm not gonna hate, but don't put it on me. Thank you very much. But yeah, exactly. That. Ugh. Let's see.
What's this comment about kink?
Also see
Also
kink.
see kink.
There are things I don't want to be doing with my nesting partner. They would be detrimental to the relationship. We need to raise a child together. This is a very good point about
I think we need
non-monogamy.
more detail about what is so kinky it would
The
affect your
kinks,
child.
yeah, yeah, exactly. No, we're not making
I'm
it one
joking.
of
You don't
those
have to.
episodes.
You don't have
Um,
to elaborate.
mhm. So that is a good point. That's actually very, very good. Um, about having other partners or other people that you see, or going to the massage parlor or whatever, or seeing a prostitute or something. Like your long-term partner, you may love them and get along and everything's peachy keen, but there are things that you might be interested in doing that they're not interested in. Same thing with friendships. It's like you have your friends that you get along, you have a blast every time you hang out, but you do certain things. But maybe you have interests that are outside that your friend doesn't like. Like maybe you guys just play video games together all the time. And you're like, hey, I'd really love to go hiking. And they're like, oh God, I can't stand going outside. I don't like the woods, nature, the birds and the bugs, and it's gross. But you still love that person. You have so much fun when you hang out. So having another person who is into that stuff, maybe this other person, they don't like video games, but they love nature. And they're like, hey, I'll be your hiking buddy. And the same thing goes with relationships, romantic relationships. There are things that a partner might be into or not into that you are. And so like being able to tap into and explore those things, because this is I guess the negative side of a monogamous relationship is you're limited to whatever interests your one partner that you've chosen, that you've both chosen each other, whatever interests those two people have. And well, the odds of all of that shit aligning are kind of impossible. Right. And so I
take
think
my situation. I'm married to a German. We
yeah.
have two different mother tongues. So like, of course there's, like we can definitely have conversations and stuff, but there will be words, where we have to kind of stop and define certain things.
There's also cultural differences too.
Yeah. And so in a lot of ways, doing this show with you and our super fans is my way to like have a weekly conversation in my own language, completely unencumbered by like having to übersetzen. And that's super helpful for my psyche. And
yeah,
I mean the show in general has always been kind of like therapy for
me.
It
is definitely a cathartic therapy session. Yeah. I love it.
And like honestly, like when I was dating, the show was super helpful because I would just put in my dating profile, if you're interested in learning about me without even going on a date, let's check out Kitchen Sink Microscopy.
Yep.
And people would watch and like subscribe and like get into the show and then realize they hate me. But
well, because you say one wrong thing and that just negates all the good things.
But that's the only reason my wife and I are together actually is the show. Because she was able to watch the show and see me being real with you, just like unencumbered, like not putting up fences and stuff, and being a genuine human being.
Yeah.
And she felt she could trust me enough to fly over and meet me in person. And then we got together, and
well, we have over
would not have happened without the show.
We have over 6 years of like honesty. It's like a fireside chat kind of thing, like hanging out at Sherry's and stuff. This is us being real.
Yeah.
Oh man. So going back to the kink thing though, I think the point I was making is like with a monogamous partner, if you're into something that they're not, it is possible that one could develop a bit of resentment that like, well, let's go with the hiking analogy. Like, I really love hiking, or maybe working on cars or something like that, or whatever you're into. I love crocheting or something, and my partner hates it. And They get all mad at the sound of crocheting even. Like, God damn it. Like,
What
then you
sound
start
does crocheting make?
I guess I don't know. I can knit, but I cannot crochet. And apparently that's a thing. There's
Make it so.
so it's like, that people say you're either an ass man or a tit man. And I'm like, well, kind of both. And they're like, no way, that's not possible. But you're either a crochet person or a knitting person, I guess. Yeah. Much respect for the crocheters out there. Holy shit. Y'all are fucking gods. I salute you. But I could see how people could develop a resentment to their partner, even though it is simply just a personal taste thing.
Yeah.
But like, well, society has told us that you're going to find the one, your soulmate, right? That like, oh, once you found that person, it's over. You can like write the final chapter of your book and close it, put it on a shelf, you're done for the rest of your life. That's fucking fantasy land. Like that's not how it works. And so when it inevitably does not work that way, people are like, well, what gives? This is supposed to be the one, the only. And so like people will get resentful to their partner for not being interested in something. And in the bedroom, that's kind of a big deal for people, obviously. There's chemistry and psychology involved in that. It's a big deal. So people get really emotional about that. And when you're into something and your partner is not, well, then you may be inclined to strike out and explore. And of course, if you're not in an open relationship where you're free to talk about things, well, now you got to keep it on the DL. You got to be secret about it. And well, of course, we know the problems that brings too.
Yeah, I mean that's psychologically, I don't know, like a great deal of turmoil for sure. And like self-inflicted, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like I've talked about this openly before, but like my second wife, I kissed another girl and or well, she kissed me, but I didn't stop it. But splitting hairs.
Yeah.
And like I told her about it, and there was a brief phase where we tried to work on things. We thought about we thought about trying poly, but we like even in like thought practice, it kind of crashed and burned. It never actually like went anywhere. So like we went through the paces of trying to find our place on the spectrum where we would both be happy, and just ended up having to go our own ways and stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just has to happen. And like looking back, if I had just not said anything, like I wouldn't be where I am today.
No, that's a good point.
Like
and it's kind of wild.
If I look back, and think about it in that aspect, I feel like I would not be very happy. Like, I would not be healthy. I mean, if I look at pictures of myself back then, I was kind of fat, and I just kind of let myself go. And then after that, I got all chiseled and had like a 6-pack and stuff. And I went through a little phase of like being a healthy and self-confident person, and like got to experience that in my life, which was good for me. So I mean, like, don't be too hard on yourself if you don't fit the mold that you create for yourself, whatever it may be. Like maybe you're a monogamous person trying to fit into a poly world, like that's okay too.
It is. And I guess it all comes down to expectation.
You might even be poly and find a person that fits every need you have and just not want to be with anyone else. And that's okay too. you know?
Sure, exactly.
Like,
And
that's
I
a
could,
fucking jackpot if you think about it.
well, yes, exactly. uh, I mean, sure, that's a win.
It does exist, you know, like look at my
Well, and
parents.
you could, and well, like I said, the satellites and comets and stuff like that. Like, I have people in my life who are really, really special to me, but they only come around once in a while. And the time that we spend is amazing, albeit short. And that's it. And that's my rejuvenation. That's my going and doing music. Like, oh yeah, we're it's all music tonight. Because like my regular partners are not like music people per se. Um, and so like of course, you know me, I am. So like being able to sit down and write a song and record a song is really special. And so but it only adds to the other relationships. It's like an additive synthesis. Poly is. It isn't a subtractive synthesis, if that makes any sense. um, so I mean, it depends on your outlook and your personal way of doing things. Oh, Victoria says that she crochets and knit and can knit a line or two. Yes, I know. It's yeah, I can. I tried crocheting and I could kind of sort of do it,
I
but
can't even sew a button on. So
I get so lost. This is the thing. I like knitting
so
to me.
lost.
Yeah. So I see what you did there. So knitting to me is very linear, even though I tend to get lost. Like I lose track of where I'm at. But crocheting, holy shit. It's like a maze. Like so anybody that can do that, much respect. Let's see. We have another comment. I'll raise you the nastier version of that story. They talk to the partner into doing the thing, and the partner resents doing the thing, but they think they have to keep their relationship together. Oh yeah, that no, that's a good point. That in order to appease a partner, people will do things they don't really want to do. And now that creates another level of resentment that's coming from the other direction. Because
Well, it's
like,
kind of
hey,
what I was talking about with my second wife, where we
mm-hmm.
kind of tried this and that, and you know, like none of it was working for either of us. So, um, yeah, we just had to go our separate ways.
But and you're both happier as a result.
Someday love will find you.
What is that? Is that Journey? Right?
Journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, classic. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Though we touched and went our separate ways.
That opening riff is so fucking hard. That is so badass. I remember I would back when I had my 300ZX, I had like 1,000 watt amp, and I would just drive in the middle of the night and just crank that shit and start that up, and you hear that, and then
Yep.
dun 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 dun. Oh, man, it's like, oh yeah.
That's like, you know, when I put guitar in my music, and you know, we do electronic music, it's always just for the crunch. It's like, you know,
Yep.
you don't need it to get too complicated, you know.
Nope.
Like,
No, not at
just
all.
need some power chords in there, because try as you might, like synthesizers just can't replicate that, you know?
No, it can't. No. Now, I mean, what Jan Hammer, I guess, got kind of close.
Yeah, and you know, Gary Newman and stuff.
Gary Newman, yeah, exactly.
And you know, like our mutual friend Shane says that I'm actually quite good at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'll take him at his word. But
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
maybe
there are songs where you can't tell, I think, sometimes if I'm using guitar or synthesizer, and
maybe yours
I can be
truly may
proud of
have
that.
done something with the Wasp synthesizer that
Yep, yep.
people can't tell if it's guitar or not. And hey, that's good.
Yep.
No, but for the crunch, I get it. Man, opening riffs. Jeez,
Mhm.
there's some good ones.
I mean,
Oh
to
man,
nerd out for a second though, like I've I've thought on like a three-dimensional level on what it is that makes the crunch of the guitar, and it's like I thought, you know what, like a lot of it probably has to do with the fact that you're hitting the strings at microseconds of a different level at
mm-hmm.
varying strengths. So I started experimenting with, you know, like programming out chords, but shifting them ever so slightly and varying the
Like a
velocities of each of
millisecond
them.
off. Yeah.
And man, it adds so much depth and vibrancy. Like
Mm-hmm.
it really does make a
Well, yeah,
difference.
because when you're dealing with synths, like especially anything with a sine wave or a square wave, they all
Uh-huh.
start at the same time, so that
Yep.
timing is aligned. So if you
Yep.
offset that, then those waves are gonna
They're
just like they
competing for the
would.
same
Yeah.
oral space.
Yep.
Not oral, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, always we can always delve into the nerdy side of things. But yeah, oh man. I for some reason I'm thinking of like opening riffs, and one that comes to mind is Poison by Belle Biv DeVoe.
hmm.
That like that beginning. Oh man, hear that? Oh,
Poison by Alice Cooper is pretty good too.
oh, damn, it is. Yeah, you're right. Oh man, see, this is all going to be just like, oh, the best opening riffs.
Every rose has its thorn by Poison is
Oh
pretty
yeah,
good.
that's good. Oh man, oh, there's so many good
It's getting into a
songs.
Poison theme.
Yeah.
Speaking of relationships that go sour.
uh, so other comments here we have. Are you gonna read one or should I?
Oh,
There's
what
two.
ties into your original idea? Subscriptions, the sunk cost of having done the right thing and continuing the relationship with the company because you're invested. Oh
Mm,
yeah, sunk cost fallacy.
yep.
Um, but more and more I've been like, fuck, fuck this company, and just like I left Spotify
Yeah.
actually, and I'm considering doing the same with SoundCloud after they pulled that shit like that I spoke about earlier.
Mhm.
Where you know like you're already paying for a thing, and then when it re-ups, all of a sudden you're on like what used to be a free experience, and now you got to pay three or four times the amount you are already paying to
Yeah.
get the experience you just had. Like,
Hmm.
fuck you. You know, I'd rather
And
not have it then. You know,
and
like,
relationships with companies is like it does connect to
mhm.
relationships with
And
people.
more people need to be doing that. More people need to be like talking with their wallets and being like, no, fuck you,
Yeah,
I'm out of here. Because
absolutely.
otherwise they just keep doing that shit. You know,
Well, and a lot of people are, unless you're within the Apple cult. Um,
right.
so
Yeah.
there are companies like abusive
And it is a
relationships.
cult.
It is,
And that's
yeah.
why it works.
It's an abusive relationship. You
Mhm.
remember Bendgate and stuff like that, or like, oh, you're holding it wrong. No, it couldn't possibly be like gaslighting people. Couldn't possibly be the fact that we engineered this antenna to be shit. No, it's got to be you. It's you. You're the problem. You just are holding it wrong. It's like, what? It's an antenna. It's omnidirectional, bro. Come on, man. uh, but yeah, it is definitely a cult, and that's how they keep people trapped, though.
Remember antenna boosters?
So yeah, I had a lot of friends who bought those little stickers with the shape you'd stick on the back of your battery cover. And they're like, oh, it's gonna. I even had friends who were like, oh yeah, my signal got so much better. I'm like, dude, that's a placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
You're only thinking it is because if you understand anything about radio, that is impossible unless that antenna thing is metal and it is physically connected to the antenna in the phone. And then, of course, you have to ask the question, why would a company who sells their product based on signal strength and like, oh, yeah, you can receive a signal anywhere, why would they intentionally make a shitty ass antenna? Huh? It's like the gas mileage, like fuel mileage boosters and stuff. People are like, oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's this thing you could do to your carburetor, it gets you 100 miles per gallon. Like,
I
okay,
used to carry around a can of acetone and like water down the
now,
gas with
now there is,
acetone.
okay, I've done the same thing, and there is kind of a little bit of merit to that, but that's a whole side thing. But
Hmm.
there are people who say, oh, structurally speaking, like they intentionally make carburetors and fuel injectors not work that well. Like, you do know, by the way, that a huge selling point is fuel economy. So if there was a car that could get, if a like Ford made a car that could get 100 miles per gallon, it would be on the market right now. Like, it would absolutely be, because competition. That is, competition solves all problems. So, because if Ford didn't do it, an insider would leak it and it would go over to
Speed and
Chrysler.
horsepower are also selling points, so they kind of compete against each other.
Mhm.
Also, um,
This is true. But
like the same is said with like medical stuff, right? Like
mhm,
with cures and
yeah,
and so on. And sometimes it is very true, but like sometimes it also like so Switzerland just came up with like a cure for Alzheimer's, right?
I heard about that. Yeah, that's
But it's
really interesting.
their insurance is labeling it experimental, so they don't have to pay for it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, I mean, like you can have cures for things, but they're going to be expensive, like no matter
Yeah,
what, that
this is
that's
true.
just
Well,
capitalism.
and well, yeah, I mean, it's free trade and competition and governments and all kinds of shit. It's all shit. Like, honestly, but yeah, so it there it isn't like a dichotomy. Like, it is possible for there to be a conspiracy and also for there to be something, like, for there to not be a conspiracy, I guess. Like you're
Yeah.
saying, cures diseases and like cancer, right? People are like, oh well, they developed a cure for cancer 100 years ago, actinium 225. Anyway, but and the powers that be, big pharma, they don't want it out because uh, they want to keep people sick for as long as possible, which, okay, that is correct, and that is correct. They're both correct to some extent, um but they don't annihilate each other logically. And the answer isn't as simple as that. Same thing with like the 100 mile per gallon carburetor. Like, could you do things to a carburetor to give it a little bit more efficiency? Yes, at the cost of emission standards. So there is that. But you're not getting 100 miles per gallon. Now, while the energy potential of a gallon of gas could easily give you 100 miles of range, even if flying, by the way, um, we don't have that technology and never will, probably for another 100 years at least. Um, so I don't know. There are conspiracies, 100%, but there's also the conspiracies don't go that deep. The people involved in them are idiots. Okay, keep that in mind. They're a bunch of greedy idiots. They don't know what they're doing. They're not super smart people. But yeah, some graduated from Yale and stuff. And it was like, what the fuck is Yale these days? Like, they're all a bunch of idiots. Oh, we have comments too. Let's see. Oh, car companies are working with oil companies. The only reason we got good gas mileage was regulation. Well, I mean, it was also engineering too, because back in the day, it's sort of like why in Washington State we don't have houses with insulation because coal was cheap.
Well,
That's basically it.
The oil crisis in the 70s is the only reason that they had incentive to make cars that were good on gas.
And it was actually competition because Japan was importing these super efficient small 4-cylinder cars. And of course, all the big companies here that are running V8s and stuff like that, they're like, oh shit, everybody's buying the fucking Yugo. What are we gonna do? Oh, I guess we're gonna release the Chevy Chevette or the Pinto. Which, by the way, the Pinto wasn't as bad as it was claimed to be. That whole unsafe at any speed thing was a propaganda piece, fake news, to coin a modern term. But yeah, like there definitely is collusion. Victoria's right in that, like absolutely correct that there's collusion, and it isn't just car companies; it's everything. And we're all being scammed and gamed by the system. So that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But well, like tobacco companies too. You can't tell me that the vape tax in Washington State was for the good of the people. No. Oh, let's make vape products which are demonstrably safer, like way safer than cigarettes. Let's make them cost as much as cigarettes. No, they're pushing people to smoke cigarettes again. That's it. They have no. What they're telling you is pillow talk. What the government says is a lie. If a politician opens their mouth, they are lying. Just putting that out there. So
I mean, technically that is a logical fallacy. I did
what the politicians are lying
anytime they open their mouth. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm not being 100% serious there.
I mean, I did a recent video on this, the whole boy cries wolf thing, right? Like, I think there was a hidden message in that everybody missed.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that you shouldn't be the idiot that just assumes because somebody is lying all the time that everything they say is a lie. Because when they tell the truth and you just assume it's a lie, and then the disaster fucking strikes and kills you, like,
that's a really good point.
Up, yes. You know, like,
yeah.
So it actually behooves you to do the annoying work to fact check things each and every time, rather than just assume you're being lied to, assume it's fake news because it doesn't sound like something you want to hear. Like, you actually really do have to do the research for yourself, you know, like,
well, and absolutely. And I guess I don't want people to like automatically dismiss everything that any politician says or any government official says or corporate leader says, because like, okay, I'd say like 90% of the time whatever they're saying is probably mostly correct. However, what I'm advocating for is a measure of skepticism that like, hey, if there's a paper published in a medical journal, you could probably be less skeptical about that But if a politician says a thing, or a media outlet, like a headline says a thing, okay, you should just raise that skepticism bar a little bit and be like, I'm not going to just bite on this lure automatically. Because all chances are it's very possible that they're lying in some form or another.
Right. There's a comment. If you disagree with something, fact check it. If you agree with it, fact check it twice. That's good, but also,
yes,
like going back to politicians, if all the politicians are agreeing on something, definitely fact check it.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're all agreeing on something and the scientists are saying the exact opposite, fact check it twice. Like,
yeah,
because the scientists are probably telling the truth.
Yep. Exactly.
And they're probably being sold up the river by the politicians.
That is, odds are yes. No, and I've always said, if anything, like if you read something or hear something and it makes you start getting emotional, you better stop and think, because if you're getting emotional, that is not that it is more likely that it's by design. Like, there is somebody attempting to control and manipulate you through emotion. And believe me, their tricks are sneaky. They're very, very good at it. The system has been at it a long time. But if you start feeling emotion about something, you better stop and think. Just saying. Because it could be a lie.
Also, don't let that. Don't feel like the goal should be to remove that emotion or prove that emotion wrong.
Oh no,
like
no.
Like you may very well have very good reason to have that emotion. Like,
sure,
like there is absolutely nothing wrong with feeling emotion from stories in the news, or like in fact that may actually be very important. And oftentimes it is like,
mm-hmm.
Like, there are things that definitely should be pissing people off, and
far more than people are pissed off about. In fact, like we really we should be more pissed off than we are. I will say that.
Yeah.
But we need to be pissed off about the right things, and so it's a matter of taking a step back and asking yourself, am I pissed off because this is actually a thing that warrants being pissed off about? Or am I pissed off because somebody's essentially manipulating me into being pissed off about it? And most of the time, it's the latter, unfortunately. But, well, that's how the system maintains its control over things, of course, by pitting people against each other, getting people pissed off about things they don't need to be pissed off about, like shoveling under the rug stuff that people ought to be pissed off about, gaslighting people into saying that never happened, that doesn't exist. That it's, yeah.
I did a whole minute microscopy on it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that seems to be the new push toward, like calling something fake news is just straight up saying it didn't happen.
Which is really ballsy to say in this day and age, when there's fucking videos of stuff and we have archives.
Yeah.
You can see those things and you're saying, oh no, that didn't happen.
I had someone on the internet call me a history revisionist because I said the COVID pandemic began while Trump was in office, which is factually correct.
Yes.
Like 100% undeniably.
Why do they call it COVID-19, huh? It isn't just like somebody rolled some, like a
even
D20.
Though it technically, like, patient zero in the US was in 2020.
No, but
COVID-19, like the variant
in China, it
began
started
in China in 2019. Yes.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to clarify that. Not that anyone thinks, like, but anyway, yeah, like people are just
which is
being sheep fucking sheep.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's idiotic because, like, a simple search online, whether you use Google, which I'm sorry if you use that, or some other alternative search engine, but Brave or DuckDuckGo or something like that. But
Please don't use DuckDuckGo.
all of them will show you that began in 2019. And in 2019, who was president?
Right.
Like, you could ask that as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's weird. I don't even know why it even matters. Like,
yeah, and I said to the guy, like, Trump was president from 2016 until like January of 2021. So the brunt of the pandemic was under Trump. And he was like, it never happened. And I was like,
no,
what the fuck?
The worst part of it was during the end of his presidency. How is that controversial? It simply is. Like, Jesus. It's crazy.
We're in a weird place in the world right now.
Well, and I think maybe what you're dealing with there is somebody who feels like the president is the end all be all, like the god of everything, and everything that happens is because of the president, which, like, pretty much nothing that happens. I'm going to put this out there. Pretty much nothing that happens has to do with the president. We talked about the shadow government back in the day, like the bureaucracy behind everything. That's how things happens. And it is timeless. It is apolitical. It exists beyond politics and whatever presidents may come and go. Like, that engine runs regardless of who's in, quote, power or control. They aren't, by the way. If anything's fake news, it's that. So don't vote. Stop fucking voting, because it doesn't matter. Just saying, like, because me, I'm like a community kind of person. Like, hey, build your own community, work local. Like, that's where you can affect change.
There was a CIA whistleblower that said there was an audit done and Kamala Harris won the presidency. So, yeah, like voting is just a fucking show.
It's a circus.
They put who they want in power.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So all the people who are like, oh, yay, Trump, like, well, okay, he's there for a reason, by the way, and it's not the reason you think it is.
Yeah. It's not because people like him.
No, I mean, there are people who do, but that isn't the reason he's there. And all the presidents, by the way, Biden wasn't there because he was like the best candidate. Like, dude was fucking brain dead the entire presidency, and
nobody fucking wanted him in the first place except the powers that be.
Yep. So they made that happen.
Bernie Sanders is like number one.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you had like newspaper articles like Sanders like plum or how did they phrase it? It was so dumb. It was like plummet, like Sanders plummets to third or something. And
well, I remember like during that time period, Biden had like a 2% popularity.
Like he was like dead last almost.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he won all the primaries and like
well, and you saw the same thing prior to that, like a little while before, where like Ron Paul was like super popular, and they're like, oh, well, this nothing guy that nobody knows about, he's the front runner, when it's like he has like 2%, like 5% or something popularity. Ron Paul, it's the same thing with Bernie Sanders. They got shafted. And Tesla was robbed, man. I will say that. But that's how it goes. And people are like, huh, I guess that's how it is. Oh, I don't know. Like, well, dude, do some investigation. Figure out how things work, because they don't work the way that the system tells you they do. They lie all the fucking time. And they're controlling you. They're manipulating you. like, I don't want to get all tinfoil hat and stuff, but it kind of deserves that.
Yeah.
We don't need this system. We have evolved beyond that system, and that system is like defiantly clinging on. It's like the kid who has the loose tooth and they know it's about to fall out, and they're like, I don't want to know. Like, dude,
Hey, man,
the tooth is
that kid.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, same here. Yeah, like, just let it go. It's okay. Like, you don't need that anymore. And with most of government, we don't need it anymore. We're perfectly capable, especially with all this technology, of managing our own affairs ourselves. Like, okay, maybe there's a couple of big things that might need like some kind of large scale integration or something like that. And okay, I guess that's the fair argument for the existence of government. But all the nitpicky day-to-day things, yeah, fuck that. Get out of my face. Get the fuck out of my face. I don't know. I get kind of riled up about this stuff.
Yeah. I should probably wrap up soon, but there's a last comment here. Would you allow me to speak a small support of Biden? Just a tiny one. We still think Bernie should have won, but there was almost a reasonable excuse for pushing in Biden. I disagree with that. I'm pretty sure Biden won because whoever wanted Trump where he is now wanted Biden to win that election so that they could create the stole the election like obvious bullshit story to make it seem like only idiots would think that an election could be stolen, so that they could steal the election now for Trump, and then make it so that, oof, if we say they stole the election, they're going to think we're the idiots now, so they'll just shut their mouths, which is exactly what's fucking happening.
It's a dog and pony show. The whole thing is it's a facade.
Yeah.
Like, if anybody thinks that
because
like
it was clear like nobody really wanted Biden. Like there was, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of people who were like Biden's better than Trump, which is like true-ish.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it is true, but like he wasn't
said it about as good as I could. Yeah.
He still shouldn't have been president, but like yeah.
I mean, it's like we this is the funny thing about politics and voting and stuff. It's like everybody makes a big stink over all these politicians. It's like a fashion show. They come up there and it's like you don't even know who these assholes are, and everybody's like, oh my god, this is a pivotal thing. It's so important, the most important election. And it's like, who is that? I've never heard of that person before, and I probably will never hear of them again. Like, what do? Same as the last guy. Meet the new boss, same as the last boss. And nobody ever says, they don't stop and think, hey, maybe there's a fault in our stars. Maybe there's something systemic that's going on here. And it isn't the particular politician we elect into a particular position. Maybe the system itself is to blame. Could it be? I mean, it's possible. And if that system, like, well, I don't want to get too conspiratorial. I don't have my aluminum foil as it is now. A tinfoil hat's very expensive these days. Bernie should have won. Yes, Bernie would have been, like, obviously from a popularity standpoint, he was the most popular. How the hell Joe Biden became the one that like
I still love that episode we did about the Bernie blackout where like in the start I was like anytime I said Bernie Sanders there was like a voiceover of like a woman saying Joe Biden.
Well, we also had like disconnects and shit happening.
Yep.
Too. I'm actually surprised we don't have any now.
Right.
Man. Well,
Maybe they
but
can't keep up with the live stream as easily.
maybe not. But the fact is that the system.
Although, I will say I'm releasing some songs right now and I'm putting the lyrics up and they all instantly get approved except for the ones that are harsh on Trump. Only those still have not been approved.
Well,
Just
like,
saying,
you know,
that's the only difference.
3 years from now, it won't matter. Like,
Yeah.
they'll be like, oh yeah, that's fine. That's just, so yeah.
Yeah. But I think I have to deal with a family
Okay.
emergency thing, so I should probably get going.
We're not a true democracy. I don't think the answer is less democracy. I think it is to democracy harder. Well, no, we're a fascistic corporatocracy. That is what the US is right now. So ponder that. We never were a democracy and we never will be. It's been fascism essentially almost from the beginning. So we made it 250 years. So hoorah, ticker tape parade, I guess.
Well, 249, not
yeah,
to be
yeah,
too
yeah. Okay,
pedantic,
well,
but it could still crumble in a month.
okay, yes, there's still a little bit of time. All right. Well, even in that, we'll probably be live streaming as the world falls down. Yeah.
Oh, great David Bowie song.
Oh, I danced with my friend's wife to that song.
Giggity.
Yeah. Wow, no, it was a marriage ceremony thing. I don't know. Anyway. Well, hey, there you go. It ties
on
it
vinyl.
Back.
There, we wrapped it all up in a nice tempo.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking it out with us. Share your comments, and we'll be back next week for another exciting episode of Kitchen Sink Microscopy.
Same kitchen sink time, same kitchen sink channel.